Hello, everyone. What a distinguished crowd and previous speakers. I have to admit, I came to talk about a few things, but I'm going to adjust that a little based on what I've heard here. I couldn't go without thanking Honor Mr. Bolton and John Caldwell, two of my former bosses here that helped make me what I am. So thank you both. I do believe, now Dave Bassett is still here, that I do believe that rapid acquisition is possible, both for non-complex and complex systems. And I certainly have believed that I've been able to see that over most my 40 years in this business. I believe that the single most largest impediment to that is an organization, and I mean defense acquisition, that's mired in bureaucracy. And a bureaucracy that's actually encouraged by some senior leaders. And if any of you have been awake for the last couple of years, I think you see that. And some of that was quoted here. Thousands of days to get contracts negotiated. No law got changed that resulted in those thousands of days. That's a crisis of bureaucracy let loose. And I personally do not believe that any laws or regulations need to be changed to accelerate the process. Obviously, there are some that would be helpful that they would be changed. But for the most case, we were very successful in fielding systems in the past by using the same system we have today, but with a crisis in attitude and bureaucracy that doesn't allow that to happen. And I'll give you some examples in my view. I think we've grown an entire cottage industry. I've written some papers on this. I call it cottage industries, the testers, whatever the cottage, the contracting people, and we've allowed them to flourish unsupervised into what takes, again, quoted by some of my predecessors, thousands of days to get contracts negotiated or underway. One of the things I think that we don't do anymore, and I say we as a community, I'm part of this too, I'm not pointing fingers except to myself, is, I used to be the commandant of DAU, and if you've actually read the laws and regulations, for the most part, the people who put those together over the many decades put options in there to do waivers, they put options in there to do acquisition tailoring. There's, I don't know, maybe 100 people in this room. Can any of you think of a program that actually used wavering or tailoring? It doesn't happen. Because we want to genuflect at every process that comes along and not use the wavering and tailoring that are actually in the laws and regulations. We just choose not to take advantage of them. And that is a choice that we make that leads us to where the frustration that was briefed by my previous speakers. Part of that is the unwillingness to accept prudent risk, and I think that some of the other speakers mentioned that. If we want a risk-free environment, you can always be behind follow the process, but we still fail. Then that is there. That crutch is there for you as a senior leader if you decide to use it. Willing to accept prudent risk is not something that we in government do very well. And why is that? Because usually the folks who accept prudent risk are the subjects of the audits and investigations that never seem to stop. And so I think that we have to get a cultural change because I think that we have a crisis in command climate in acquisition. And I think that's what the real crisis is. It's not the laws, it's not the regulation. It's a crisis in command climate to set the conditions so that people can be successful and field equipment in reasonable time limits. And I think there's some examples of where we've done that. Dave mentioned the Striker program. I think that was a huge thing. I think it was 4 years, right, Don? From concept to fielding. 3 years, I'm sorry. 3 years from concept to fielding. I would call that a complex system, right? And most people don't remember way back to the, I was the Army Tank PM a long time ago. Even before my time, we had prototyping that was aggressively pursued. And most people don't even remember what the MBT-70 was, right? And before there was an Abrams tank, there was an MBT-70. And by the way, if you ever look at a picture of it, it looks exactly like an Abrams tank, right? But we crashed to put a prototype program together to get lessons learned before we put the RFP on the street, and then we fielded the system, right? So we know how to do it, we just choose not to. So again, I come back, this is a crisis in command climate, not a crisis in laws and regulations that need to be changed, right? Because you could do that today if you wanted to. Someone mentioned earlier about the requirements, and I think that was true. Most of you know, John Caldwell was, I think, there before my time, that we knew when we fielded the Abrams tank that the 105 cannon would not penetrate the Soviet armor, but we fielded it anyway. We knew that the armor on there wasn't what the objective armor is. We fielded it anyway. We knew that the NBC system on there was not sufficient, but we fielded it anyway. And for all of those critical things and many more, we had PIPs. Has anyone ever heard the word PIP in the last 10 years in DoD acquisition? Product Improvement Program. We had pre-planned product improvements to address those things, get something out there now that was a significant improvement over what we had, and then product improvements lined up for the future. And so we know how to do it. We just, again, I come back to my point, we just are choosing not to do it. One of the reasons why I believe not, and I think it's something I wrote about earlier, and not to point any fingers at it, because I'm part of this too, it's moral courage is a very, very rare characteristic inside of Beltway, right? And that is where you decide to take those prudent risks that we're going to field this equipment, we're going to pit program together, we're going to get it right as time goes on. And I think we need to do more of that. We've done it in the past. And by the way, the Apache helicopter was the same way. The millimeter wave system did not work. We fielded it anyway, and when the millimeter wave, we put it out. So you can go back to many systems in the past where we've done this. So I believe that a lot of the things we're doing now to go chase innovation, like the Silicon Valley and all these other places we're setting up these things, you could have that within defense contractors. The issue is how we contract, right? And I can almost guarantee that the folks that we are writing contracts for in the Silicon Valleys in Austin, Texas, and Boston, wherever we're putting these, would never accept a FAR-based contract, right? Where we're going to go in there and audit their second and third tier suppliers to determine if their price is reasonable, right? So if you want access to technology, you got to get over that. And intellectual property, right? In some respects, this is with all industry, there's lots of forums on this. With regard to intellectual property, in some cases, you've got the Chinese coming in through the back door through our servers trying to steal technology. And we've got the US government coming in the front door saying, we want your IP, so after we field this, so we're going to give it to everybody they can compete on, right? That's not how you're going to incentivize the industry to bring you new technology. So the whole attitude on the government on intellectual property needs to have some reasonable that doesn't quite exist. And so I also would like to address one thing Dave talked about, and that is with regard to the requirements process. I think that we don't have a new combat vehicle because in a lot of cases of a failure of the requirements process. If you want to get 9 or 12 people in a vehicle and you want to protect it at a certain level, it's going to weigh a certain amount of weight, and it becomes unacceptable. But the things we never do when we write requirements is really look at DOT and PF. Could you split the squad into 2 vehicles? I realize people don't want to do that, but you can get 6 or 7 people in a vehicle at the weight class you want, rather than going to try to chase the technology for a new armor. Look at how many years, it's been almost 2 decades after the initiation of FCS, we still don't have it. Right? So we have to look at DOT and PF to how to solve requirements with some change in attitude on the requirements process also. Because I believe that's possible. Same thing on the tank. So, Dave mentioned the Russian tank, and previous speaker mentioned the Russian tank. They have a 2-man crew. And if you want to reduce the size and weight of a vehicle, it's all about interior protective volume. If we insist on 4 people on the inside, you're going to protect 4 people. And you want a loader instead of an auto loader, that's going to cost you space and weight. Same thing with the extra crewmen. So you got to decide what you're willing to give up in order to get the system you want. So I think we need more of trade space on DOT and PF. So again, I think that everything that we want to do is possible, and I think we've done it in the past. And I'm not trying to run back to the past with some nostalgia. We had problems back then too on things. But I think that what we want to achieve with rapid acquisition is possible if we just adopt some of the things we used to do. And it doesn't require folks in this building to change the laws or regulations in most cases to achieve that. So thank you very much for your time.